Hi, I'm Ace Acosta. Welcome to this edition of Taco Tuesdays with Ace. I'm here with my friend Harry Ruiz, back from Vegas. Welcome back, amigo.
What's up, Ace? How you doing, brother?
It's good, it's good.
Hey, thanks for putting up the tree and everything for the special edition.
Hey, the holiday edition's right here. Santa's coming. Santa's coming into town.
So Santa's coming, but I'm coming too. So here's a gift from me to you.
Those?
A Lights FC jersey. Yeah. I know El Paso has a locomotive and they did great, but I work for the Lights, so that's my gift.
There we go.
To Ace for this Christmas gift.
Vegas
for having me out
Vegas.
here.
Harry, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome.
Like I said, this edition is Taco Tuesdays with Ace, and I got tacos here from the lovely, messing it all up, El Cometa here.
I had flautas, but then I started eating when you were setting up everything, and I was like, hey, I missed this.
Hey,
it's my favorite.
Tacos and flautas, you can't beat it. So go and grab one, Harry, to start it off with right here.
Hey, El Cometa, sponsor my boy.
Right? I got these tacos right here.
Hook him up.
Al Pastor right here. So, Harry, tell us, California boy, right? Where'd it all start?
That bite should have been smaller because now I'm hungrier. So born in Torrance, Los Angeles area. I was out there for 10 years and fell in love with sports through video games. I started playing video games and I started memorizing players, teams, started watching the games on TV, started liking watching baseball, basketball, football, and I was like, hey, you know what? I like this. So
what was the first system you had? I don't want to put the age out there, but
no, it's okay. I'm pretty sure it was a Nintendo. Then I skipped one, and then I got the Sega. Then I skipped one, and then I got the PlayStation. And I skipped one, and then I got the Xbox. And then I skipped a couple, and right now I have a 360 that I don't even use, but it's in my living room there.
360, that's an old one. I think I used to have one. It's been a while since I played it.
Yeah, dude. No, right now they got PS4s and the Xbox One, and they got more stuff coming out.
I think it's a PS5. I think is already coming out.
Yeah. So, but I don't have time to play right now, so I just have it in my living room collecting dust. But every once in a while, like if I get home early from work, like right now that we're in the off season, I'll be like, yeah, I'll play some Madden. It's the 25th anniversary edition. I don't even remember who's on the cover. I think Barry Sanders. But every once in a while, I play. The Raiders have been like 17-time Super Bowl champions in that one, but
it's crazy.
We still haven't won a playoff game in a while in real life.
Now in high school, did you play sports?
So in high school, I played basketball in Torreon in Mexico. That's my parents' hometown. I'm 6'1". Out there, I was the tallest guy on the court. But then I come back to the States, and I'm like 6'1" is like average at best. It's like you're
a shooting guard. Man.
You're in that borderline between being. I remember. So shout out to Tyler Tofoya, former UTEP men's basketball player from out here from El Paso. I went out, and the team was at the same place, and I was like, I'm taller than you, dude. And he was a guy that was a walk-on that was just there with the team and everything. And he was like, hell no. We stand next to each other. He's like an inch taller than me, and he was like the last guy on the bench. So I'm like, damn, 6'1" is Mexican tall, but not tall out here in the States.
You're grande in Mexico, but back in the States. Yeah,
Chaparrito out here, yeah, or average at best.
All right, so in high school, when you're about to transition to college, what were you thinking at that time, what you wanted to do?
So my dream was being a sportscaster. And I was like, oh man, it's like, can that happen? Can't that happen? So like my family had a hardware store that we used to run. My mom was the cornerstone of it. My dad was still out here in the States, but me and my sisters were always the ones helping out. Then I opened a little branch, a little business on the side, and always had that side hustle. It would be school, work, practice, homework, school. It was like always that cycle of always being busy and knowing that each peso or each dollar that you have in your pocket, you earned it. So there were weekends where other kids at school, they would be like, hey, we got this party going on, dude. Come on, let's go. I'm like, dude, I'm busy. I got to work. And then I would come back on Monday and I would have money on my pocket. I was like, damn, dude. And they're like, well, you were partying. I was working. So it's all
money.
Exactly. And that's why I always like in my life, thanks to my parents that put that discipline in me, that showed me that you got to work. It's always been staying busy, staying humble, and being like, hey, you know what? You earn it, you take care of it, invest it, do something good with your money.
Wow. So going into the sports path, what were the first big steps that you had to take?
So I remember I used to have my business, and I would go after school. I would go into classes like at 7 in the morning, and then would be there 7 to 1 or 7 to 2. Go to the office, and I would be there 1 or 2 till 8 o'clock. I would always listen to sports radio, and I'll always be listening. And there was one local show. It was always like the national show at 3, the local show at 4, and then the national show again at 5. I would listen to that 4 p.m. hour, and they were one of the first ones that I remember. They were like, "Hey, text in your comments instead of call in." It's like when you have to call in and say something, it's like. And then you're like, I'm shy, I don't want to say a lot of stuff. So when they let you text, I would always text. I'd text them a lot, and one day they screwed up with something in baseball or basketball, and I was like, hey, you guys are great with soccer, which is a national sport out there in Mexico, but you guys aren't that great when you talk all other sports. You should bring me in so I could show you a little bit. And they were like, hey, dude, you want to come in next Tuesday? Come on in, and we'll give you an open mic. I went that Tuesday, and then the head guy with the show, Gustavo Mendoza, who's now at Fox Sports in Mexico, he's like, hey, dude, do you want to come in next Tuesday? I'm like, sure. So I started being like a Tuesday guest. Then Gustavo went to Copa America, a big soccer tournament in South America. And the other co-host was like, hey, dude, can you come another day? That way we have more people in here. I'm like, you know what? I'm busy with work. I got to take care of my business, but I'll come in Tuesdays and Thursdays. And damn, went in Tuesday, Thursday, and I always like just kept it like that. And one day, I was also doing like a side hustle, doing stats for the basketball team out there, the pro basketball team, for their TV broadcast. I had already done like an on-camera casting with them, but I was still waiting to hear back. But I hadn't told anybody but Gustavo, the main guy on the radio station, and he was with Televisa.
Oh.
And he just hits me up, and he's like, hey, dude, we're losing a guy that's super experienced, that has been on TV forever out here. I don't want to have that same experience, that I bring someone in with experience and then he leaves me a year and a half or 2 years afterward. I want to start building someone from the ground up, and I want that to be you. I was like, oh, crap.
How old were you at this point?
I was 19 years old, dude.
19, so you shot your shot.
Yeah,
right?
So that was when I was 18. I shot my shot on the radio. And then when I was 19, I got invited. It was like, hey, so he told me, I can only get you an on-camera casting, and then you, at best, can become an intern. Then you show them what you're worth and what you can do. 2 weeks after I started my internship, the girl that was doing sports, she asked for like time off because of Christmas, and they were like, hey, do you know how to do sports? I'm like, yeah. I didn't. Okay, go do the sports segment today at 1. I was like,
wing it. Well, you know sports.
Yeah, dude, I was nervous, dude. I was like,
how nervous? Very nervous.
But somehow I was like, always like, all right, you know what? Just stand in front of the camera and talk about sports. And that's what I'd been doing until I want to say June last year. Just being in front of a camera, talking sports, being in front of a microphone, following sports and reporting on it, showing the cool stories that there is. And 4.5 of those years they were out here in El Paso, which were incredible. I fell in love with the city.
Perfect. Now when you're first on air, what is your family telling you? Are they like, whoa, like, you're on TV, you know?
Yeah, dude. I was like, since I was on the radio, my family was like, how the heck did you do it? I was like, man, I mean, I just jokingly said, you guys should have me on air. And they took me, and I was pretty good at it, not to brag, but I enjoyed talking about everyone in Mexico talks about soccer. Soccer,
right?
But me, with my mentality from out here from the States, it's got to know baseball, you got to know basketball, you got to know football, a little bit of hockey and all the other sports, but not only soccer. So that they like that I wasn't just one-dimensional, that I had everything covered. So
and you know who Emmitt Smith was or whatnot at that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or that in that era, it's like I love talking about Kobe, love talking about basketball. LeBron, I used to like him when he was in the Cavs in his first era, so it was fun talking about him. But yeah, it was cool.
So 19, 20. So when did you make that transition to the States to become on air?
So I finished out there in Mexico in August 2010. Funny story is like actually my last day was my birthday.
Really?
So that's why I remember that date exactly when it was, and it was right after the World Cup. So it was August 2010. I moved out here, did some stuff with other newspapers, radio stations from Mexico while I was in LA, and then I landed the job out here in El Paso. I started in 2012, I want to say maybe July, and started with Univision, and ended up getting the sports gig there with them, and also doing the play-by-play for UTEP basketball. And one day before UTEP played Oklahoma, I was told, "You want to do football play-by-play as well?" I was like, "I've never done it, but sure."
And this is all in Spanish, though, right?
All in Spanish, yes.
Now, how different is that? Like, I know it's kind of like your first language, but to get all that, I guess the terminology, how difficult is it to translate that?
So for me, it's easy because that was all I ever knew. Like, I moved to Mexico when I was 10, so I started watching sports in that age in Spanish, and it would all just stay in your brain, and I would have that English from the time I was in the States still in my brain, but then everything had to be like also in Spanish. It's like the first 2 years in school out there, I was in a bilingual school, so it would be half of the day in English, half of the day in Spanish, and it would be like start getting that Spanish perfected. It's like get it in a great level, so that way you're good. And it's just easy for me. I can, like right now, I'm doing play-by-play for the Lights games on the road in TV in English.
Oh.
But I'm like, if you make me just flip the switch and do the play-by-play in Spanish, I'll do it at the same time. Like,
is it like that old school, what was it, Sylvester Stallone, when he flips the hat, he turns the other switch on right there, English, Spanish?
There you go, exactly, yeah. For me, that's the way it's like Raiders, and then I go like that, malosos, vámonos.
Now, like you said, in El Paso since 2012, what was it about the city that just drew you here?
The people, man.
The people.
Yeah, it's the city is great because of the people that live in it. It's incredible how you can just come in. Like me, I didn't know anybody. The only person I knew was a friend of my dad who helped me like move in and like figure out where I was gonna live, and my dad was here with me, so it was more like they were hanging out and I was the one looking for somewhere to live, and I was like, all right, if I have an emergency, I know I gotta call this guy. But besides that, I didn't know absolutely anybody, so it was like starting from zero. And
on air.
On air, yeah. And like a couple of weeks after I moved in, it was my birthday. And I remember I was like, just whatever. But no, it's like my coworkers, we went to eat. They had a big lunch and everything. I was like, oh, hey, you know what? They barely know me, and they're receiving me with open arms and being super cool. And I was like, hey, you know what? Might be a cool place to live in. And almost 5 years later, I'm like, I left because I was like, I wanted to grow my career. But like every day in the back of my mind, I'm like, dang, I wish I was in El Paso. It's a pretty cool place, man.
It's just very unique. Can you go back down memory lane and some of the key moments you got to witness while working in El Paso? What stands out? Because you've done a lot.
Yeah, so the first one was UTEP playing Oklahoma, and Oklahoma being like a huge favorite, and UTEP having a one-score game in the last quarter. It was like completely unexpected. A lot of great basketball moments. I mean, that Don Haskins Center is special when the fans are into it. Minor Maniacs were amazing in that time, and it was simply a great place to live in. I mean, I got to travel all around the country and even to the Bahamas with the basketball team, and it was always myself, John Teicher, and Steve Yellen. And Teicher and Yellen are legends out here in El Paso, but I look at them just like, hey, they're my friends. I would always we would go out to dinner with them two and Darby, and it was really cool. And for me, that's why I'm like, hey, it's all family out here in El Paso. It's the best part. But if I had to pick one moment,
well, not one.
I mean, there's tons of great ones. The Canutillo run, like I was able to go to the Final Four game that they had out there in Lubbock.
Nothing special like Texas football, huh?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. That's what my boss, when he brought me in, he's like, hey, high school football is special and you got to treat it that way. And then I started covering. I was like, wow, we're barely a part of Texas, but people take it seriously, and it's really cool. Like you, how many games do you shoot on a Friday?
Well, try to get like 3, but
Yeah,
depending on traffic nowadays. But yeah, 3.
I would record 3 games, and it was like I was a lucky one because I was on air, so I would go to Canutillo, Franklin, and Coronado, and I would stay on the west side because the station is on the west side. So, but it was real cool. Like I was like, no, I need to get at least 1 score per team to be right down the middle. But that Canutillo team, their defense was amazing. It's like, damn, to get a score from the other team, it's gonna be tough.
It'll be hard.
But it was always like great trying to give that coverage to all the players, the parents out here in El Paso, and
they
high school
they
football.
appreciate that. They appreciate that, seeing their kids on TV.
Oh, absolutely.
And especially in the Spanish language. I mean, obviously this is very Mexican city. It's cool to see both languages being covered.
Absolutely, and I'm bummed right now that the station I used to work for, they're not doing it anymore because of some restriction they're doing out there in their news department. But I'm like, hey, I was lucky enough that when I was here, every single year it was doing high school football.
Yep. Now,
beat you to it.
They beat me to it. Now, it's football season.
Yeah, right now. It's December. It's the holidays, and Santa. It seems like the Raider Nation has been bad because we got 4 losses in a row. Might be 5 when you're watching this, or we might have stopped that losing streak. But yeah, it's tough.
Now Harry's a diehard Raider fan, Oakland to be exact. Can you just tell us about that experience going to a game at the Coliseum?
It's the best, dude. I remember my first time I went to the Coliseum was right after I moved back from Mexico. My uncle, we went to San Diego the week before, Raiders Chargers. We stopped the losing streak against the Chargers, and then we went up to Oakland the next week, and we saw the Chargers beat the Broncos. And then we went the next week and we saw the Raiders lose against the Colts, and it's like, god damn, the loss was tough, but the environment, the tailgating, I'm a terrible morning person. I might wake up at 6:30 in the morning or 7, and I'll stay in bed just on my phone for an hour and a half because I don't want to get out of bed. I'm sorry, these flautas are amazing. I don't want to get out of bed, but when I'm in Oakland, I'm like this last time. It was a final home game out there, and I was out and about until like 1 in the morning the night before, partying with the Raider Nation. The final time we were gonna do it out there in the town, and I got to the hotel, stayed up till like 2 a.m. because I couldn't go to sleep. Had my alarm set at 6:30, 6:31, 6:32, 6:33.
Got it all right there.
It was 6 a.m. and I was already like, I want to get out of here. It was like 6:30. All right, showered, changed everything. The gates don't open till 8 in the morning. But
it was a 12 o'clock game or 11 o'clock game?
1:05.
1:05.
So it's Pacific time. So a 1:05 kickoff, that means 5 hours before kickoff, they open the gates. I'm like 7:59. I'm already there. It's 8 a.m. They open the doors. Just walk in, go out, hang out with the Black Hole, then go over to the B lot and walking around. And I know I'm going to bump into my friends out there. And it's always cool just stopping tailgate to tailgate and hanging out with people who I didn't knew 9 years ago, but that now I consider my family. It's something similar out here to El Paso where I know I can just come in out of nowhere and be like, hey, Ace, are you busy today? No. Here, let's go have lunch.
Let's go eat.
Or let's go just hang out and talk or have a beer, whatever. And it's like that's the same feeling with the Raider Nation, with the Raider faithful. It's like you just go out there and have a good time and have a blast. And until this last game, I had never seen the national anthem inside the stadium.
Really?
Because I would always wait 30 minutes before kickoff. I would get in line, have a couple of beers hidden while the security's like, okay, no beer, passing this point. Drink 1, drink 2, get past security, then get into my seat. Like the game against the Bengals, I was out there last month. I literally just sat in my seat, kickoff. I had it down to the minute. It was like when I should get in line because it's crazy out there. There's 4 entrances, but they're all crazy packed an hour before the game because that's when everybody's like, all right,
time to go, let's go.
Yeah, instead of paying $12 for 12 beers, now we're gonna pay $12 for 1 beer inside. And I don't drink inside the stadium, so for me it's like I'll just get there, sit in my seat, yell, get a headache for yelling that much, but It's cool. It's a great environment. For whoever wasn't able to go to the Oakland Coliseum, I'm sorry. It's the best.
Because I remember you telling me that experience, because since it is that round, like you said, there's stuff going on no matter what, right? Yep. That's got to be an amazing experience out there. Amazing.
Yeah, and then like I used to work the Golden Knights games, a hockey team from Vegas. I would used to go cover them for the TV station I was out there in Vegas with. And yeah, it's a great environment and everything, but it's almost 50-50. Fans from the Golden Knights and fans from the visiting team, because if there's one place you want to go to a visiting game, it's Vegas. And it's like that split, like you're walking down the aisles, and if you're from the visiting team, high-fiving the fans from the other team. When you go to Oakland, it's 95-5 at best. It's like Raider fans don't let other teams invade the Coliseum.
Hey, you know, there's a lot of terrible towels when Pittsburgh goes to Oakland, though.
Yeah, hey, but you see teams like the Steelers,
Niners, maybe.
Niners. It's like teams that have the Cowboys.
They have a good traveling.
Like, exactly. They got a huge fan base, same as the Raiders, at every stadium they go to. So that's like, there were more than 20% of the stadium Steeler fans, though.
No, but you guys always had our number for some reason.
Yeah, no, it was.
Couldn't get them Raiders.
I still remember, what was it, Terrell Pryor against you guys. He ran a huge touchdown rush out there. I was like, hey, good memories. No, but it's cool. It's like, as of late, you guys have done way better than we have, but that's a cool thing with the Raiders. It's like, we stay loyal, man. We might be terrible, but we're always there.
Still the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how do you feel about the Vegas move? You're in Vegas.
I know. It's like all my friends are like, hey, dude, now you won't have to travel. Well, that travel was part of the experience. That was part of like me getting to Oakland the day before, going to the hotel, checking out where the party is that night, and getting some drinks, or worst case scenario, just buying some drinks at the hotel and having a party there until everybody's like, hey, okay, it's getting late and you got to go get some rest for the game. And then walking to the stadium, I never parked there because I would always leave my rental car at the hotel, or I would just Uber and Lyft around town. So it was part of the experience. It was part of the game day vibe that it's like, all right, let's go, let's travel. And even like these last two trips, I waited till the last flight back to Vegas. So after the game, it would go, first game against the Bengals, we went to celebrate, had some drinks and had dinner and everything. Just got to the airport an hour before my flight. All good. And then this time, same thing. It's like, damn, we lost, but hey, go have dinner, hang out with your friends, and go have a good time, and then go catch your flight back home. And I liked it. Now I don't know how it's going to be in Vegas. The parking's going to be hassle. There's not a lot of parking lots around the Allegiant Stadium, that is called.
Yeah, I remember you taking me out there. It's right next to the freeway. I mean, it's going to be unique.
Yeah, dude, and that's like, we're used to tailgating right next to the stadium and then just walking over to get into the stadium. Now they're talking about grabbing a shuttle every 30 minutes or so.
But it's huge, right?
Yeah, so the stadium is, I think it's 65,000 is the capacity, and but it's looking great. I drive by it to and from work every single day, and every day you see something different, and it's gonna be great. The team deserved it. They deserve first-class facilities, and it's gonna be one more reason why the players are attracted to signing with the team, from before being like, oh damn, the locker room's gonna be clogged after the game, to now being like, dude, we got one of the best stadiums in the world, not just in the NFL. So it's gonna be cool. State taxes, not having them out there in Nevada, it's gonna be cool for them as well. So
it's gonna be a little unique saying Las Vegas Raiders. Like it's gonna take some time.
But that's the funny part. If you go back to history, Al Davis always tried to just be the Raiders or Raiders, and it's like, sometimes you would say Oakland, sometimes you would say LA, but it would always be the Raiders, and I think it's going to be the same
thing. They're just not even going to say the LV. It's
yeah,
they're playing there, but it's the Raiders, right?
Like there. One of my addictions is hats. I love buying hats. I finally slowed down a bit out there in Vegas now, but I would always buy tons of Dodger hats, tons of Raider hats, some Laker hats, but like my collection is mostly Dodgers and Raiders. And the Raiders, I think I got 2 Los Angeles Raider hats, and they were like throwbacks, Mitchell and Ness. And I might have 2 hats that say Oakland, but the rest, it's just a logo.
Just the Raiders.
Just a logo. It's like they keep it with that standard, just Raiders. And
You see it, you know what it is. Right?
yeah, and that might be why we're nomads, just going back and forth everywhere. But hey, wherever they go, I always say, even if they play in China, I'll be a Raider fan out there. Just keep the silver and black, keep the best uniforms in the world the same way, and we'll be there.
Right. Now let's transition to another little touchy subject, your Dodgers.
Oh, man.
Harry is one of the biggest baseball fans that I know. Okay.
Dude, I was so disappointed the game we lost against the Nationals in extra innings, Game 5. And then if you go back every single year, the last 7 years that we've made the playoffs, it's like the last game of the season, it's like, come on, man. The last time they won the World Series was 2 months after I was born.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. Whenever the Dodgers win the World Series or the Raiders win the Super Bowl, I'll get a tattoo.
There you go. You heard it here.
Yeah, I'm
right?
like,
we're gonna call him on that, right?
I'll get it done on there here with Ace.
All right, it's new tattoos. All right, so what's the experience like at Dodger Stadium?
It's really cool. So I used to be a season ticket holder when I was out there in LA. I started as a 25-game mini plan holder, and I was like, I would go to games, and it was right at the end of the McCourt era, the former owner that everybody hated, and I would go to the 25 games, pick the bobbleheads, pick the cool giveaways, and then like there were more games where Kershaw was pitching in that first great year that he had, I want to say 2010, and I would buy tickets on StubHub. They were super cheap. You can't get those no more. But you buy tickets, go watch the games, and it's real cool. It's family environment. Just don't say anything you shouldn't say. I've been to tons of Dodgers-Giants games, and I'm like, hey, talk back and forth and go, and
Just
there's
don't cross the line.
Friendly banter, but then there's some F-bombs or whatever, and then it'll escalate. There's always those bad apples in every single fan base that will screw it up for everyone else. But it's cool. It's a great experience. I went to Game 3 of the World Series against the Red Sox last year. Yeah, it was last year, 2018. And, dude, I can tell you, I almost cried when the game started. I'm like, I'm at the freaking World Series, dude, and I'm watching my team play in it.
Bucket list.
Yeah, I was like, and then that was a game that went 18 innings. So it lasted a little bit under 7 hours.
Hey, you had 2 games right there for the price of 1.
Exactly. And I was like,
free baseball, there we go.
And the Dodgers were down like in the 15th inning and people started leaving. I'm like, no, come on, stay. And like, nah, people left. I was like, all right, hey, I'll be here. And there I was at Dodger Stadium at 1 a.m. waiting to leave after the game was over because fortunately there were more people that stayed than those who left.
Now you got to tell me your story on how you get to meet a lot of celebrities, also obviously being in the news business and everything. But that one chance that George Lopez was there and it just happened, just explain it on that.
Yeah, so actually that started out here in El Paso. He had a show at it's the Abraham Chavez Theater right next to the ballpark, right? And I went to the show, I got tickets through the station, and I just like walked towards the theater, went in, his book was on sale for $25 and it was autographed. I was like, hey, you know what? If I don't see him after the show, just driving out, I'll buy his book, and I got his autograph. Posted a picture, I was like, hey, I bought George Lopez's autographed book, it was only $25. I posted on Twitter. 2 minutes later, he starts following me, he DMs me, he's like, hey, come backstage, man, I want to meet you. I'm like, holy crap.
Oh, damn.
So sure, I like go to the side, and I'm like, security girl had no clue. I'm like, you know what? You're not gonna believe this, but George Lopez wants me to go backstage, and she's like, huh. Then his manager comes out, and he's like, hey, you Harry? Yeah. All right, come over.
She's probably, well.
And she's like, all right, well, if he says so. I had a Dodger hat on, and he's a huge Dodger fan. So his manager's like, hey, let's just keep it quick, and because he's gonna go on stage soon, whatever. We ended up backstage like 20 minutes, half an hour, just talking Dodger baseball. And then his manager's like, George, you're up in like 5 minutes, dude. And he's like, all right, hey, we'll keep in touch, whatever.
I've been doing this for a long time, don't worry.
And for me, he's like a guy that Hispanics look up to, dude. It's the Mexican-American guy that killed it on his sitcom, on his stand-ups, his nightly show that he used to have. It was like, his late-night show was like, hey, dude, it's a guy that I used to look up to, and I do look up to still. And it's like, all right, cool. maybe a year later, I was at Dodger Stadium watching a game, and it started raining, and I posted a picture on Twitter. I was like, who knew? We had a tarp at Dodger Stadium. We never use it, but there it is. It does exist. And then he's like, hey, is there going to be a game or anything? I'm like, well, it looks like it. And he's like, hey, are you by yourself? I'm like, yeah. All right. And then like 5 minutes later, he DMs me. He's like, hey, come down to the press box area. And he walks by and he's like, hey, here, use this ticket. I'll see you downstairs. I need to do a meet and greet. Front row, dude. Dodgers, Padres, and I was like, what the hell, man?
I remember seeing that picture. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, dude, and it's just like, I'm watching the Dodger game, and I'm being the same guy I am in the last row of the top deck, down there in the front, and he's cracking up. He's like, dude, you're crazy, dude. Just talking, getting some banter in there with the visiting team and rooting for our guys, and he's like, hey, that's cool that you're a loyal fan. I'm like, hey, man, I'm the same way. With the Dodgers, with the Raiders, with the Lakers, even though I don't like LeBron. But yeah, it's like, stay loyal with your team, enjoy your games, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I covered one Raider game in my time with the TV station I used to be with in Vegas, and it was so tough because I'm like,
can't cheer.
Defense is on the field, you're standing up, you're screaming, your offense is on the field, first down, let's go, whatever. And I was working the game, so I was just up there in the stands like,
can't say nothing. Can't say nothing.
I'm like, come
Inside,
on.
you're like this. Yes. No.
Dude, we got whooped by the Patriots in Mexico City that game, so there wasn't much to root for. But yeah, that's people tell me it's like, dude, you can request a press credential and you pretty much know everybody. You'll get it. I'm like, yeah, but
you want to experience it.
I'd rather pay for it and not have anyone being like, hey, shh, quiet, you can't cheer up here.
Right.
Because that's the etiquette.
And exactly, and you don't want to get escorted out, for doing that. I mean,
exactly.
But still, that's still a crazy experience. Now, lucha wrestling, professional wrestling for people that don't know, big thing for you.
I love it, dude. It's my distraction. It would always be same thing. It started with video games. I would start playing video games, and I was like, hey, you know what? I bought a WrestleMania VHS for the young kids. Google it. Yeah, and I was like, saw WrestleMania, I want to say 13, 14? I don't know. Shawn Michaels against Stone Cold. I fell in love with it, and then started watching Raw, Nitro, and the storytelling. And I always say it's like, that's my soap opera.
Exactly.
That's like, I'll instead of watching the novelas on Univision, I'll watch wrestling now on TNT. But it's like the cool thing. So it would always be super cool, and started working in TV out here in El Paso, and started getting connections with wrestlers. Like the Mexican guys that will go to Juarez, I love watching them on Lucha Underground, so I would like to put a spotlight on them. And El Rey Network, who was in charge of Lucha Underground, would notice that, and they would always give me access to the guys, either in LA or out here. And I have great relationships with some of them, and they're doing great things right now. So that's pretty cool.
It's big worldwide. I mean, Japan is crazy.
Yeah, dude, out here in Juarez, you got the Mexican part of it across the border in Mexico. You got the American part of it out here in El Paso. It's a great tradition, and one that definitely I can say it's kind of like an addiction. But unfortunately, right now I stopped watching one company and started watching the other, and now the time I watch wrestling has decreased.
It has decreased. We might go back, you never know. They have their ups and downs. It's just, people up on top in their storytelling.
I know, dude.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
But now we understand like what some of the girls go through watching their daytime soap operas that are on now, right? Why did they go back with that? So now it kind of, all right, it makes sense why mom was always yelling at the TV in the morning,
Exactly. And then when you're able to watch them live,
totally different. Totally different.
Like when people say it's fake, I'm like, dude, it's predetermined, but it's definitely not fake.
No, I told him, I go, get on that ladder and jump down on the floor. What? Well, you said it's fake. Let's get that chair. I go, is it staged? I go, Avengers is fake. So is Blade.
Every TV show.
I go, I mean, even the NFL. No, I'm just kidding. But
when the Patriots are playing.
But it's still, like you said, it's like a soap opera. It's got that
the storytelling. Yeah.
I mean, I'm from the Sting, Stone Cold era too. I mean, it's just great times. You just for an hour or two, you just go away from the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and you've hustled, paid your way and got to meet a lot of these athletes on there. What's the trick or I guess steps to do that? Obviously, you got to have some spending money. right?
Yeah, no. So, for example, out here in El Paso, it was pretty easy. I mean, there's people who don't like doing the airport when the wrestlers arrive. If they got the show in Cruces, they're going to land in El Paso. Or if they have the show in El Paso, they're obviously going to land in El Paso. And just get there early in the morning and wait and try to get an autograph, a picture. If you do it, be friendly, say thank you, say please. Don't be that guy that is like, oh, screw you, you didn't want to sign for me. Or if someone says no, it's like, all right, man, hey, have a good rest of your day, enjoy the city, whatever. If someone says no, just take it the nice way. There's other times, like for example, at the arena at the Pan Am, you would just wait outside in the back and hopefully someone would come over and sign, and that's a funny story. Like I remember Sin Cara, before I met him, I got a picture of him without his mask and everything, like 2013, I want to say. And now I remember I bumped into it the other day and I sent it to him. I was like, dude, look at that, dude. It's like, now we're great friends. Or sorry, Cinta de Oro now. Or my good friend. The luchador. But yeah, it's like you find ways to meet people, but now there's also a lot of meet and greets. So it's like you can pay and you got a guaranteed autograph, you got a guaranteed picture. And like I did one in Tucson, I want to say 2012, 2013. It was very, like, after I got here. It was crazy, dude. It was $200, but an autograph and a picture with everyone there.
Oh, everyone.
And
just one, just
everyone, yeah. Included Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, X-Pac, some former divas. I was like, dude,
you don't see that anymore. I think I
no.
saw one $70. It's $70.
Yeah, no. Ric Flair by himself is $200, $250 for an autograph or a picture. So I remember I made that trip. I was like, heck, you know what? I'll stay in that hotel like $100. I was like, gas, it's cheap out here, something that I miss. But it was a good road trip, and I was like, dang, I've got to meet a lot of people. So it's a hobby of mine, getting autographs, getting pictures, and
you got a lot.
Yeah,
it's a very impressive collection. We'll have to do that another day. We'll take the trip to Vegas and go see his collection.
So I'll tell you a story about an autograph that I got. That this was like completely unexpected, and that's why, like I said, it's like, yeah, you go to the airport or you stay by the outside in the arena or you pay for a meet and greet. There's some that just happened. I'm in Houston, Dodgers Astros, when Matt Fiers pitched no hitter on us, and I'm all bummed. I was like, God damn, we just got no hit, man. This is ridiculous. And watched the fireworks. I had lost my jacket during batting practice. So I was like, I'll go look for my jacket. It's kind of cold outside. I go to the Lost and Found, huge line. So I was like, just stood all the way in the back. The door right next to it, Adrian Gonzalez, former Dodgers, former Padre, former Red Sox.
Was it El Titan?
El Titan, first baseman. He just walks out from the door right next to it. I was like, holy crap, that's Aegon. Oh, you know what? I'll buy another jacket. Just started walking, and I get close to him, and he looks at me. So I had a jersey with his number and his nickname. Instead of Gonzalez, El Titan. And he sees me, he recognizes me. He's like, hey, don't talk to me, just follow me. I'm like, okay. Just walk for like 2 blocks, and there's like a little crowd behind us, and I'm like, oh, probably they're doing the same thing as I am. They were his friends. They were walking. I was the only one that like recognized them then and there. He's like, all right, we're good here. You want me to sign your jersey? I'm like, heck yeah. I signed my jersey, and he's like, you want me to sign your hat? I'm like, absolutely, here you go. And I'm like, dude, thank you so much. And that was the last time I used that jersey. I got it retired right now at home. That hat, it was the last time I used it. And it's like, sometimes you try too hard to find stuff and it doesn't come to you. And sometimes you're not even looking for it, and bam, there it is. And it's
lost jacket, framed signed jersey.
Or last week when I went to Oakland, I walk over to my gate, Gary Payton's standing right there. And I'm like, what the?
Glove right there.
I'm like,
the glove.
I didn't want to interrupt him talking to someone, so he finished his conversation, went, bought a coffee, was coming back. I was like, Mr. Payton, may I please take a picture with you? Okay. Take a picture, say thank you. But it's like, that's what I always say. Magic words when you're asking for autographs or a picture or something. Please, thank you. Being friendly, being just the courteous person takes you a long way. So If you get told no, there's a good chance he was just like, hey, let's take a picture. Or
Yeah, you're just
or here, sign this.
and then yelling and loud and making a scene.
Exactly. You got a lot of baseball buddies, and you've been at their games, and people just having the baseball there in the. It's like, nah, dude.
I remember a story with Jesse when he was playing with the Iowa Cubs, and they're playing in Albuquerque. That's when Jeff Samardzija was on the team. He told me that because everybody wants those autographs and they sell them and everything. That there was people that will hire a kid to go down there because I guess Samardzija wouldn't sign to the adults. He wouldn't. He'll just sign for kids. And they'll go and they'll pay and try to send the kids down there, to get the autograph. And he'll kind of see it, and sometimes he'll be like, no. I was like, dang, like really,
There will be people who simply have kids so they can go ask for the autographs.
So because I remember when I got to meet him, he's like, just me. I was like, no, man, I just want to say hi. This is an Albuquerque, just cool. I remember seeing him playing on Saturdays, at Notre Dame, and making that jump. And I was like, it's pretty cool that you get to your teammates with these guys. And,
absolutely.
It's a whole nother world back there. I mean, it's stuff that we get to see. It's just like, wow. People just think, oh no, they're just athletes, yeah, but they're humans too.
That's what. So we interact with a lot of pro players and celebrities and everything, and it's like, at the end of the day, we all breathe the same air. We are all human beings. Some might live in fancier houses. Some might drive fancier cars. But we're all human beings. And that's why, like, if you treat them just like a regular person, they appreciate that.
Right.
And that's like, I remember bringing back Sin Cara, Cinta de Oro, the wrestler from out here from El Paso. When I left, he uploaded a picture of me and his son. His son was wearing a mask. And he's like, hey, thanks for being a friend of the guy behind the mask, not caring about the guy with the mask, but just the guy. And that's like, for me, he's my friend. He's not the, oh crap. I'm always super happy when he does great, but I'm more like into, hey, when we talk, it's like, how are your kids? How's the family? How are you doing? It's so much, pure. And when you see that, you see them on that big stage. Now let's go to this last story on this one. Let's go.
Tying it into the El Paso area and Lucha.
El Paso strong.
Right? When you got Sasha Banks down here and actually was able to give it a tour, because her favorite wrestler was Eddie Guerrero, the great Eddie, rest in peace. How did that happen? I know you kind of like planted seeds and worked it, and it came to fruition.
So actually, I didn't know what was going to happen that morning. Same thing. I woke up early in the morning just to go to the airport and try to get some autographs from the wrestlers coming in. Sasha had just done her. No, it was right after WrestleMania, the big one in Dallas. And she before that had the big takeover Brooklyn during the SummerSlam weekend against Bayley, and I simply loved her character for that. It was great storytelling, and I was like, I want to meet Sasha Banks. She's awesome. And I remember I was on TV back then, and when they announced that she was coming, I put it out on TV. It's like, hey, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and Charlotte, I think. Yeah, I don't know. And it's like, hey, they're going to be in town. Buy your tickets, blah, 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 blah. And then I went back on camera with the anchor, Ariadna, and I had my Sasha Banks gear I had bought at WrestleMania, and I was like, yay, go Sasha Banks. Hey, if you want to go eat tacos, I'll take you to Chico's Tacos. That was Eddie's favorite place. And I posted that clip online, and she saw it, and she retweeted it. I remember the first time my phone started going crazy, I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's like just the notifications on Twitter.
Ding, ding, ding.
I was like, holy crap. And that was it. But I didn't know. Sin Cara had told her in a European trip they had done, hey, I got a friend, he's a good guy, TV anchor, whatever, and he's not a creep. He would like to take you out to Chico's Tacos. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. I think I've seen it, whatever. I didn't know that. So I wake up that morning on a Saturday, check my phone, had a DM from Sasha. It's like, hey, what's the address of the Chico's Tacos? I'm like, oh, crap. So I sent her the address. I'm like, hey, it would be great if I can tag along with you. She's like, yeah, Kalisto and I are going, and absolutely, we'll see you out there. I was like, I don't know if yes or no. Saw her at the airport and introduced myself. I was like, oh yeah, how you doing? Whatever. We take a picture, and I'm like, hey, if you're still down, I'm down to tag along with you guys. She's like, yeah, we might go to the gym first, so I'll let you know. I'll DM you. They got the rental car, and then they were like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to Chico's. I was the the smart guy back then, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the ATM before going to the airport. Just grab $100, and they don't accept credit cards at Chico's Tacos if you've never been to.
Cash money.
Cash only. So I had the cash, and they got there 2 minutes before I did, and they were like, "Oh crap! They don't take credit cards." I was like, "Hey, my treat." What?
Welcome to El Paso.
Welcome to El Paso. So I bought lunch for them or breakfast, whatever it was, and we had a good time. They were talking. They were like, "Hey." So the awesome part of her was like she had investigated like what she should order. It's like, yeah, I want a double, and I want fries, and I want this.
Did she get the round hot dog? No.
No. So she didn't have a hot dog. She just went for the tacos. But but it was like she knew what she was gonna order from checking out online. So I was like, oh, okay, that's impressive. I hadn't mind. I'm not a big fan of Chico's. Sorry.
Cometa.
Cometa, Cuco. Easily the best in El Paso. Sponsor Ace. But yeah, it was cool. And then we took a couple of pictures. I gave her just a painting that I paid someone to do, her and Eddie, and she loved it. And they were like, yeah, we're going to the gym, but after that, I was like, hey, do you guys want me to take you guys to Eddie's mural? Absolutely. So we took them to Eddie's mural before the gym. They went to the gym. And then, you know, Jesus Rosales, our good friend, he was shooting a baseball game at Bowie. So
you're like, come on over.
He went over to Chico's, picked him up. He took cool pictures of him out there at the Eddie's mural, done by our good friend Eric, by Varick on Instagram. Great artist. They went to the gym, and after the gym, we took them up to Scenic Drive. And they were impressed seeing where the border is, Juarez, El Paso, and they were like, wow. They were super appreciative of that little tour we gave them, and they were like, we never get to see the cities we're at. It's simply land at the airport, get the rental car, go to the gym, buy some food, go to the arena. And they were like, hey, thanks for driving us around and taking us everywhere. And it's like, hey, no problem. I was a big fan of her and Callisto. I'm a huge fan of theirs now. Like, just getting to meet the people who they are, not the characters that they are on TV. Dude, I saw Callisto at the gym. I didn't know it was him. He wasn't wearing a mask, and I just see a guy waving at me. I'm like, does he recognize me from TV?
I remember Cinta de Oro or Cincada. I'm at the iFly thing, and somebody comes and punches me from the back. I was like, what?
You were ready to go.
All right, what's up, Bigo? Like,
yeah, no. And so I remember seeing him. I was like, hey, is that someone who recognizes me from TV? And then 5 minutes later, him and Sasha are walking out together. I was like, oh, okay. Callisto. And that's the cool thing. Like, nowadays, if I ever get to see Callisto again, he always remembers like the time I brought them out there. I haven't seen Sasha since.
You missed her. She was here this year.
I know, dude. And
finally got some shots. Finally.
I know, that was cool. And that's the cool thing out here in El Paso. I'll close it out with this. The media community is amazing. Like, I'm glad to see. I saw the episodes you had with Patrick and with Colin, that they got into the community real cool. That's something that I miss from my time out here. It's like Bo Bagley, Aaron Rich, Asher, Louis Del Rio. It's like a lot of guys that you just interact with your coworkers, with your colleagues, and it's like, hey, it's great people, and it's like, go out, have a drink, and it's good people out here in El Paso. And if they weren't good people, they became good people because of the city. So
exactly. I mean, we get to experience a lot of the same stuff, you know, and like you said, you get to meet the person, not just the figure.
Exactly. It's a great town. So a lot of people, when they're here, I always hear it's like, I can't wait to leave. Me, when I got here, I was like, all right, I'll be here 2 years and then I'll move along. Dude, I was here 4.5 years, and they were some of the best years in my life. It's a great city. It's a great town. All the kids watching right now on YouTube, you always say it's like, oh, once I graduate, I want to go to a bigger city, or I want to go to somewhere that they have more stuff to do. You don't know how great this place is until you leave it for good, and it's like, dang. El Paso's good, despite the construction and everything going on the freeway. And
it's a whole nother...
Never ends. I was here so long ago that the Executive Center Drive entrance ramp towards the...
I-10?
Yeah, that was open. It's been closed for like 5 years now.
But here's this: we got a new toll road right there.
I saw that last time I was here.
Right there, from my house to UTEP, be there in 5 minutes.
I saw that, dude, and I was
5
like,
minutes. I'll gladly put that Texas tag on my truck right there.
I was impressed, and even the entrance on Sunland Park, getting on the freeway, it's way better than it used to be back then.
So TxDOT, thank you. You guys took your sweet time, but it's worth it.
Open that on-ramp on Executive Center, please.
Please. Perfect. Harry, like I said, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for coming on this episode right here.
Thanks for the flautas,
Flautas and tacos, El Cometa. Just saying.
Hey, whenever the lights are in town, treat them right, please. I know we beat you guys here in El Paso, but you beat us in Vegas.
So
they're the ones that pay the bills for me, so...
Exactly. Thank you for the jersey. Like I said, Harry, thank you for coming on.
Brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Harry Ruiz. Catch him on your social medias. Let him know.
So on Twitter, you can find me at Harry Ruiz. On Instagram, you can find me at Harry_Ruiz. The one with at Harry Ruiz didn't want to sell it to me, so I got the underscore.
All right, underscore. Perfect. Thank you for watching this edition. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.